I like her legs.
I don't know what to say to that. You're her creator, man.
I don't have her legs on her.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you do. Listen, you make those thighs however you want,
Yeah.
as long as they're delectable, my friend.
Right?
Uh, have a good night, all.
Yep. Good night.
I need to have a discussion with Pondo the Mad.
Good night, all.
All right. I'll see you in a bit, Rob.
All right, cool.
In fact, we could chat. We could chat it out right here.
You know what? That's we can go to Discord like we always do, but I've got folks in my chat.
Yeah.
I've been very patient, so I'm gonna go participate on there.
Sounds
But
good.
I'll meet you in Discord. I'm actually I'm gonna take 5-minute break anyway.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna chat. I'll chat you in your channel.
Okay.
That sounds good because I might be in and out.
All right. Cool.
All right.
So many applications to close down now. Oh, let's see here. Wow, that was rough. That was rough. I don't mind dying, but that was rough to be nuked so badly. Wow. But like I told these guys, I told them, it's like, it's okay to die. It's okay. It's okay to die. So I had to prove it with my character. Alright, folks, so very, very sorry, but I am going to take a 5-minute break and then come right back. And then I'm going to continue drawing this image right here. So patience, and I will be back in 5. I promise I'll be back. I hope it is the enemies who suffer next time. But at least now the other players are pissed off. So we're gonna go in guns blazing, I think, this time, so that'll be fun. Yeah, it'll be fun. So I'm gonna develop a character that's gonna fuel the fire. You know, we should be killing the succubus, but everyone wants to roleplay. So, and social interaction is whatever, 25% of the game. Yeah, 5-minute break. 5-minute break, guys. Be right back. Talks amongst yourselves. Everyone dropped anyway, to be honest. We got 3 folks here. So Connor, say hello to Feline. Feline actually subbed and subbed while we were playing. So cool. Yeah, I got cut on the side, doing a little bit of cleanup here. All right, I'm going. 5-minute break. I'll be right back. I'll just leave the art up. And okay. Alright. That was more than 5 minutes, but here I am. See what I've missed. So let me go way back. Feline first started here. Oh, you're here, killer. That was probably the succubus. Thank you about the line art. Talk about the drawing here in a sec after I go through all this stuff. By the way, Feline, AP Gaming Real is the he was the game master too. So if you like watching these types of games, you might want to check out his channel. He's hosting stuff pretty much every night. We do this game every Tuesday. Dungeons and Dragons, that is. Welcome back. Hiya. Did that work? Oh, because I have shout out set up, so it'll work for any channel. Okay, cool. Alright, so now I'm catching up. So, as you've seen, Connor and I and Cotton, we have some other players, Bearded, Jalapeno, and McComicker. We play every Tuesday night. And you just saw us get our butts kicked, or at least Baldrick's butts kicked, by a nuke. Holy crap. I didn't think, won't you give your life for my son? I like the way AP was really trying to get you to do a suicide run on that, because honestly I don't think that was winnable. Yeah, not with nukes like that. Jesus, when they hit all of us. So I'm assuming they've got a 15-foot cone, and I guess by the way they were positioned, got all of us. So we might want to spread out next time. I'm glad you guys got out. I mean, my whole plan was, especially when I was looking at initiative, and Feline, jump on in. If you got any comments or opinions on what we could have done or should have done, please have some fun. Let's have some fun about it. Yeah, not get separated. What was I going to say? Yeah, so my plan was I was going to grab Cotton's character and pull her out because you were next on initiative and you would have been able to theoretically come out and shut the door. But I got fried and it ruined everything. I know. I feel like... Oh, you were down to 4 hit points? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't realize you were that low. I mean, I know everyone got nuked, so I knew everyone was hurt. But man, when you get one-shotted by a pack of... That's rough. It's just rough. So you looked it up. What's their breath weapon damage? And is there a save for half damage? I assume so. I thought Baldrick would get less damage because he saved on most of his rolls. Yeah, I mean when it's played like that, it's unwinnable. I agree. We're toast. Because even if Ash blocked the door, holy crap! See, that's huge damage. What's their plans often tend to do, sadly. Yeah, I totally agreed, Feline. We, like Connor and I, we'll chit-chat offline and we try to come up with these strategies on fighting. And I think we have good ideas, but let's just say we're fighting at a disadvantage all the time. Yeah, I think Ash would have got toasted because Ash would have gotten hit by all of them as well. And if he didn't go down in round 1, he definitely would have gone down in round 2. We might have been able to pull you out. I mean, theoretically, right? It's easy to theorize after the fact, but maybe we would have been able to pull you out depending on how initiative went. Because because you went and then they went, and after we saw your crispy critter, I could have grabbed you and pulled you out without pulling opportunity attacks, and we perhaps could have gotten out. Perhaps. Yeah. So yeah, their breath weapon. They can do that any old time? I mean, in the old days, breath weapons used to be 3 times a day. But if they get to breathe every attack, they're way buffer than they used to be. Let me just put it that way. I don't remember Hellhounds being so tough. Recharge in 5 to 6 turns. Didn't they breath weapon us 2 turns in a row? Or were all those other attacks bite attacks? Feline, hey, I got questions. I mean, do you follow D&D a lot? Did you come to the channel because of D&D or art, or if you don't mind jumping in? I don't want to drag you in if you don't want to talk or anything, but if you want to let me know what's up, that'd be cool. D&D and art, very cool. Let's see, would disengage have worked? I think you're right. If I had disengaged and grabbed her, I mean, yeah, that attack, the breath weapon still would have hit someone. Yeah, it would have probably would have gotten Ash if I had disengaged. So Feline, I'm glad you like both. I'm glad that I do both. And you should follow Connor as well. Fantastic comic book artist. He does some really cool stuff. So lots of fun art people at this channel. And then sorry, multitasking. Uh-oh, now AP's feeling guilty. He's feeling guilty. Okay, so we do art. I do art here. I'm not on Twitch as much as I'd like to be honest. Connor's on very often, so you can check his channel out. I personally do D&D characters, critters, and stuff like that. Commissions. The art that I'm doing right now is actually a commission for AP. So he had asked me to draw a deep gnome vampire, more of an aristocrat type character. And so I wanted to twist it up a little bit. So this smaller character I've got here is going to be the deep gnome, so he's on the small side. But when he changes, when he polymorphs, he's going to be polymorphing into more of a monstrous vampire, not the classic. Let's see. Shout out Connor Hughes. It's the fellow that's chatting with us. So this guy right there. So there's his channel link. So yeah, this guy is going to be more of a Jekyll and Hyde type of thing. You know, it's sort of like the Hulk, Banner and the Hulk. But when he changes from his human form, because a lot of vampires, I believe, have a polymorph ability anyway. So he polymorphs into a deep gnome or vice versa. So yeah, he's going to be this bestial vampire guy. So that's the plan. So Connor and AP are having a big discussion in Discord now about tonight's thing. AP is like, hey guys, sorry about tonight. I've been thinking about it, and you're probably right. Definitely led you away from the South. I don't think he led us away from the South necessarily. Plus, the South has even harder creatures. So if we can't even handle a band of hellhounds, how are we going to handle anything tougher? So enemies will target him for his size and then be surprised by his polymorph. Sounds like fun. Yeah, I hope so, right? They're going to take him for granted. I don't know what AP's plan is for the character, but, they take him for granted. It's a small guy. It's a deep gnome. So a deep gnome, it sounds like you haven't played D&D, so a deep gnome most of the time is a relatively rare class. You don't see them very much. They tend to be good guys, but they don't trust people. And if this guy's a vampire, then then you come up and you're thinking, oh, it's just a deep gnome, whatever, and then he's kind of got this Hulk vampire thing going on. Well, D&D is a lot of fun, Feline, so I would definitely recommend finding a group and playing along. Because once you get rolling, it's kind of addictive. That's true. I mean, Tara, she said go south to find our way to the succubi. I mean, I kind of knew there'd be more between them and the succubi, us and the succubi. And like I said, even when I saw the hellhounds, I thought, okay, good, this will be a good fight, but we can take them. So I'm still new at knowing what the monsters are, and that makes it kind of more exciting, to be honest. But yeah, I was really surprised at that nuke. I mean, you were like, really? You were more vocal about it, but inside I was like, holy fuck. It's like we're dead. Yeah, Feline, it's I mean, I used to play years ago, play characters, but mostly DM with my friends. And when I was younger and had all kinds of time, it was so much fun to do. And then I've been playing with this crew for, I don't know, 6 months. Maybe we've been playing a little bit longer than that. So for me, it's kind of like brand new again. And some things have definitely changed since I've used to play. So it's a lot of newness to me. So it's pretty exciting. Having fun with it. Love creating the characters. This is the first time my character... I'm reading your stuff, Connor, yeah. Yeah, I kind of think we were outmatched. But then we were outmatched because we didn't even get an initiative. I mean, all 5 of them, of the monsters, went second. So there's not a whole lot we could have done. Not in that little room. And Feline, yeah, I played a long time ago, but now I didn't play for decades and then been playing for like 6 months. And then it is the first time I've had a character die in as long as I can remember. Now, when I played when I was younger, I mean, we weren't so strict on the character deaths. It happened, but usually we get them resurrected and we keep on going. But nowadays, the gist is if the character dies, we have to roll up a new character and come in with someone new. So next week, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a completely different character. And we might bring back Baldric in the future if we can get some of his remains. All we have to do is gather some of his remains and then there's potential. So that'll be sort of a subplot, to see if we can get back his remains. Played D&D 4E. Yeah, 4E was, I never played 4E, but I heard it was pretty tough, pretty technical. 5E is kind of simpler and easier, more user-friendly. So if you played 4E and you liked it, then playing 5E would be a good time to get back in. Yeah, I know, Connor. I mean, they rolled an 8, but I had a 6 or a 4. Horrendous initiative. And then Lyra was, super squishy. Yeah, I would have hoped that we could have tanked at least a round and then panicked and run or whatever. I have to remember the actual disengage, though. I did not remember that. Pebble to the nuts. Made a Dragonborn. I'm assuming that's a ninja assassin. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Connor, man, it's way too early for me to know what story I'm thinking. Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm going to look at the characters with a fresh view, because so we still have a cleric and a paladin. As much as I wanted to play a paladin, I'm kind of thinking something else. And I may do that scout, because I've sort of had that in the back of my mind anyway. And we need some stealthy action going on. Although I don't think non-stealth hurt us, not yet anyway. I don't know. A ranger would be good. I actually like rangers. I don't care that they're critiqued as bad as they are. An archer? I mean, I'd be pretty darn happy with a good archer. Feline, I'm laughing at that. Left arm found his right toe. Honestly, come on. Hellhounds chomping on him for, it's going to be at least 24 hours chomping. I think the only thing they're going to find, or the only thing they should find, is some bones, or the horns, the hoofs. Even the hoofs might be chewed on. Dogs in the wild. I don't know what are those dogs in Africa? Dingoes? I'm sure they chew on the nails. I think there's a lot of fiber protein type stuff. But yeah, basically if they can get any part of me or any part of Baldric, there's a chance of bringing him back somehow. One bad initiative roll shouldn't kill us. Yeah, you would hope, right? You would hope that we'd be able to at least tank around and be able to take some actions. I didn't realize Moonbeam, because I was thinking of casting Moonbeam anyway. I even considered it, and if Lyra hadn't have gone down, I would have casted it anyway, because once it's there, I could move it and keep hitting. But I didn't realize the 5-foot radius means a whole extra square every direction. That's kind of weird. A 5-foot radius I thought would be 1 square. But if it's a 5-foot radius from the point of origin and it includes the whole other square, that's actually a huge radius. That's totally worth it now. Do clothes count? No, they don't count, because DNA is not enough. You need a physical, maybe a pound of flesh. I don't know, a handful, maybe a finger, and maybe a finger would be fine. So if they find a spare finger, maybe that'll be enough. But they won't be able to bring him back. Like, the characters can't bring him back. There's no way we have enough money to go pay someone, because AP makes stuff like that really expensive, so I guarantee we don't have the money for it. So it'll be a while. It'll be a long while. So you know, maybe it'll be a finger. Lyra will carry the finger on a necklace around her neck to remember Baldric, and 2 years down the line, somehow we'll be able to bring Baldric back. Yeah, right. But that's the good stuff. Hellhound's got to eat that. Right? Finger necklace. Maybe it's just fingernail necklace or something. Yeah, I might try spellcasting. So I don't know. I mean, it's 7 levels. Maybe I've been avoiding multi-class, but maybe a multi-class would be okay. So we'll have to see. I don't know. I've gotten to the point now. I mean, my go-to is always a paladin and a monk first, and then obviously I've been playing rogue, so that's kind of taken up for a while. So I don't know what my next go-to character is. That's why I was like, oh, I do know. Well, I don't know now. See, I did say I was thinking of doing a melee character because I was going to play a bugbear. So that was the class or the race I wanted to play. The bugbear would be interesting. But I don't know. I think I want to pick something that might be better utility for the party. We need more. Yes, they can save up, but honestly, in our other campaign, we have not gotten any loot. So AP is very tight on loot. It's hard to get loot in his campaigns. So if we can ever find a magic item and sell that, then we might be able to get enough, loot to pay a high-level cleric to bring them back. And I don't know. There's a couple different spells, and I don't know exactly how they work. There's a revive spell, which I don't know. I don't know if well, to be honest, I don't know if a body part is going to be enough. I guess it might be. Cotton seems to know what she's talking about. I mean, she should. She's played a lot longer. So if a body part is all they need to revive Baldric, then yeah, he can come back. Or clearly not clearly, she had some ideas of reincarnating Baldric into something different, and I'd be okay with that too. That would be interesting. But no matter what, it's weeks away at best. Bugbear is a weird name. It's actually not a giant bug, but it sounds like a big bug. The bug part, don't even know what that means. I don't know what a bugbear is, but it's a humanoid, very hairy, really long arms, bigger than normal men, but not giants. So they're kind of like fighting beastie guys. Now in this campaign, no. So the quick answer is no. We'll only play with one character. Now the caveat is, a couple weeks ago, Connor and Cotton's character were captured by the succubi, so they had to play second characters to go rescue them. And so for once they were rescued, they played a little bit like a Sasquatch. Once they were rescued, then they played 2 characters. And then the following week after that, we went to 1 character, so they had to pick which character they wanted to play. So once the character, and we're starting all characters at level 7, so it's sort of, we have these established characters in a way. So they could pick whatever character they want. So in a West Marches type campaign, which that's what we're playing, you can have different characters, but then when you want to play, you can pick what character you want to play with and do that adventure with that one character. Oof, lots of excitement today. Wow, Connor, AP, and probably Cotton are having one heck of a conversation in Discord. It'll be fun to catch up with that later. Yeah, you nailed it. It's meant to be flexible, because sometimes also AP in the original campaign that we have, AP has said we can only play that campaign if we're all there, or at least 4 out of 5. And so that's pretty cool. I think that's good because that makes it fair to everyone who started that campaign. And then we started this other West Marches campaign as a filler, so that if people can't show up, we won't play the original campaign, we'll play the West Marches campaign. So if you stick around and watch the games from week to week, you might see our original campaign sometimes, and then sometimes the West Marches campaign. So we'll do some bouncing back and forth. All right, I'm gonna draw a little bit. That's what I was gonna say. So on this drawing, assuming that you guys are curious because you mentioned the line art, I do this red art first, and this is just a gesture, just so I can kind of get some scribbles down and do some thinking about what I want. In this case, I did 2 layers, one for each creature, but then I erased stuff behind the creature. And normally I would put in a little bit more detail at this stage, but knowing that people are watching during the game, I try to work faster so that there's something worth seeing. So then this next stage that I do is what I call the contour map. And I don't always do this, but it's been kind of fun to do this lately. So it sort of maps out the muscles and bones and curvature and that kind of stuff. And clearly I haven't drawn his hands yet, so for both of them. But then after this contour map, I'll actually go in and pencil on top of that and start the real drawing. But by the time I get to this point, I've got the pose done, I've got the action, the the drama, if you will, all that stuff. So by the time I'm rendering, most of my thinking is done. Let's kind of set this back to where it was. And I do these stages on purpose because I feel like I'm still practicing. So I force myself to do the contour map. I force myself to do the gesture. I force myself to do a rendering layer and an inking layer. I break it out into steps to kind of force my skills to be focused on that one phase at a time. It's not too hard to keep events separate, not for me anyway, because I only play once a week, and so 2 campaigns bouncing back and forth once a week is not a big deal. And I don't feel like I've got any of my characters memorized, to be honest. I'm still learning. If I studied more, I'd memorize everything. Like what Connor was saying, disengage would have been a very good idea. I didn't even think about it. So disengage allows you to step away from the bad guys without giving them a free attack. Look really fleshed out, intense builds. Yeah, I like drawing muscles. What do I mean by rendering? So the rendering is the pencil stage. So I consider like the gestures this is all sketching. Gestures is all sketching. I could darken up pencils on top of that. That looks good. Yeah, I like it. My wife was showing me a hairstyle. Pretty wild, pretty cool. So for me, rendering is all doing the pencils. So I could render on top of these red lines, because this is just gesture or sketch or whatever you want to call it. But when I tighten up the drawing, you know what? Well, let me show you, and then that'll be much easier. Let me show you a past drawing. And I'll show you exactly what I mean by the steps here. Actually, I want to show you a color one. Doo-doo-doo. What am I missing here? Where's my D&D? Oh, that's right there in front of me. I'm trying to think what the last color image I did was. Oh, let's pick the were-rat. Yeah, 2D art rendering is all about, to me anyway, it's all about the pencil work. So it's what you do to express the style of art drawing that you're doing. Because anyone can sketch these red lines, and no matter what their rendering style is, they might all sketch them very similar to this, right? Because it's so loose, there's no real information there, just enough to, you know, get the size relationships, the placement, and all that kind of stuff. But when they actually draw it and decide exactly how they want it to look, then their rendering style comes out. I role-played Baldrick very well. You know what, in my head, I still didn't do what I wanted to do. But I'm warming up to it, trying to get more acting into it. But I had fun with Baldrick. I liked him. I like him as a character. It was hard. For me, the Paladin would be like, hey, evil succubus, I don't need to be, you know, to me it's no discussion. Bam! Hammer in the head. Because to me, that's what a Paladin would do. This whole role-playing, let's talk to the bad guys, and I don't know. It's a tough thing for me to get used to. You know, in these types of fantasy stories, I mean, you don't really see the characters. Hey, let's have a discussion with that demon to see if it's the one good demon in all creation. So yeah, it's a tough pill for me to swallow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get used to disengage, absolutely. You know, I think about disengage when I'm Rick Jacks. I think about disengage way more often. But I didn't even think about disengage this time around. But then I think based on our conversation, all that would have happened is we would have lost Ash and not Baldrick. We were definitely going to lose one of the two. This character is amazing. Which character? Alright, catching up. Feline, no problem, man. Yeah, I'll show you just in a sec here. Yeah, exactly, Feline. An angel would not waste time talking to a demon. They're mortal enemies. And that's the way I view a paladin to these fiends. They would be like mortal enemies. There shouldn't be any discussion. Yeah, Connor, so that's where I'm still trying to figure AP out, because sometimes I don't know if the succubi is not attacking us. Why doesn't she attack us? You know, this whole thing about who's going to draw their sword first is kind of weird. I'll say it. It's completely alien to me. I don't get that at all. But it does seem like AP has a story to tell. You know, so he's got this succubi that are different. He had that hobgoblin. you know, that he was playing a certain way. So I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's something here. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think the Hobgoblin should have been offensive. I think there's definitely stuff that we need to just ignore AP on, to be honest. Like, not in a bad way, right? But just understand that that's the way he's going to tell his narrative. That's the way he's going to guide his story. And you know what? Sometimes I think, you know, we're going to have to pound some heads. Again, I don't think it's torture to use intimidation to try to get information from a bad guy. I don't think that's beyond a paladin. Because even a paladin can bluff. You know, they're not so saintly, you know, that they can never tell a lie. But at least for the Minotaur, that's one of his abilities, is being able to intimidate. So, of course, he would use it. I can growl at them, scream at them, yell at them, "Rah!" because it's just supposed to intimidate, right? It's supposed to scare them. And a paladin may prefer to do that instead of killing them outright, you know? So in a way, it serves the needs of a paladin of not having to kill every creature he's ever met, ever. But yeah, the Minotaur, even though it's not too huge, it's 6'8", imposing. That's an imposing character. That should intimidate many characters. Yeah, I honestly I wanted to go for the Hobgoblin first, but you know what? There's something I wanted to talk to. Connor, you said the succubi wants to corrupt purity. I completely agree, right? So in this case, for the succubi at least, I mean, I kind of think that succubi is played consistently, that it's, you know, that particular one is a you know, more of a manipulator than anything else. So I actually don't have any problems with the succubi, or the succubus that we had in this level. I thought, okay, that's kind of cool. She's definitely trying to corrupt. I think she might be a little bit more aggressive, but AP plays her super passive, and that's cool. But yeah. Yeah, Minotaurs are scary, I hope. You know, in the game, the mechanics sort of balance them out. You can't be automatically scared or anything like that. Plus, you get a saving throw against that intimidation. So the intimidation might not work anyway. But if it did work, then it gives the game master an opportunity to guide the story into the next step. I definitely want to use it. Well, now I can't. Baldrick's dead. But the intimidation is something that I was planning on using a little bit more often. But, well, I was going to use it on the freaking Hobgoblin. But, you know, it's hard to intimidate a Hobgoblin through a metal portcullis. So we were going to have to get through that first. Yeah, Connor, I do think, I don't know if this is what you meant, but not actually putting the Rat King in danger. I don't think Baldrick would work that way. So I would say that's me role-playing Baldrick for sure. Because as a paladin, I don't know, we get to pick and choose what types of gray areas we might work in. And since the Rat King actually, you know, befriended us, it didn't behoove Baldrick to even lie about that. But it was still a plan, and it might have worked, regardless of what Baldrick thought about it. I know, right? Very strong Hobbit barbarian. They should be limited in their strength. We should just kill him. I think even Cotton was like, I don't know. Well, I have to say, as a group, there's a phrase, action paralysis. I think might be the phrase. As a group, we're all paralyzed to do anything. And now, after this nuking tonight, it's going to be even worse. I think, so Connor, you don't like D&D in that the flexibility where races don't matter too much. I think they still matter. I think they might be all so balanced that they feel equal, but they're all different. Yeah, me too. Last week, like you and I, Connor, were chatting this week, and I felt like, hey, you know what? There's no reason not to go in there and start bashing some heads. And, but, you know, in the back of my mind, I'm like, yeah, but we don't know what's there. Could be worse, you know, so we'll bash some heads, but we need to do a little bit of exploring, which I think we did. And I was 100% fine with the way we explored the dungeon and, you know, making choices and being kind of careful, maybe sloppy. I don't know. I don't think you can always be stealthy. I mean, in a place like that that's occupied the way it is, I don't think stealth should even be almost possible. So I felt good about our exploration and looking around, and hey, we just opened one door too many and there they are. So we expected to see bad guys. We saw bad guys. I just didn't know there'd be a 36d6 attack. That's kind of rough. I mean, probably in hindsight, you know, maybe there should have been 3 of those dogs instead of 5. So, I mean, it all comes down to, come on, 36d6? Because if they're 6d6 each, that's like dragon breath. That's like, you know, 20th level damage. So it's just too much. So we could complain about that. I think that's just too much damage, to be honest. The one thing, but the caveat is, the one thing, well, there's many things. But one thing especially that I like about AP's playing is that when we fight the monsters, he really tries to have the monsters win. And I'm 100% okay with that too. Because then when we do win, you know, maybe we'll get some lucky rolls, maybe we just overpower them, maybe we have a good plan or whatever, but it feels good beating them when the monsters are used at their max strength. Yeah, Feline. We need, yeah, I think that's a true statement. We want and need a bloodbath. We need to kick ass. And we haven't done that as a group in weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. You know, the funnest night, or one of the most enjoyable nights I've had playing D&D was when we had to fight the zombie plague. You know what? I know that was thrown in at the end, at the last minute, because of the stuff that was thrown in the water. But you know what? Fighting monsters is what it's all about. We're supposed to be heroes. Got to do heroic things. Let's see. Action paralysis we touched upon. Everyone be extra careful. Yeah. Now, even in my next characters, I don't care if my characters die. I don't want to be so careful that we can't get anything done. And we literally played, I don't know if this was the second or third week, and we hadn't done any combat. maybe it's the second week. So last week we didn't do any combat. This week we barely did. You know, AP had to remind us last week, hey, you know, we've got this dungeon. Take you a few times to clear it out. And he even said, you know, you guys sit around, don't do anything. And then tonight he was joking around, well, you're sitting in the inn not doing anything again. And he's totally right. So I think we need to get to it. I think we've done enough role-playing of waking up, eating breakfast, paying Jital, all that stuff we've done a million times. Now it should just be like, hey, we would just want to go straight to the dungeon because we're here to get something done. Oh, last week Bearded said his goal was to make sure we didn't kill anything. What kind of goal is that in D&D? I don't get that. So, all right, I'm just gonna spit out that is such a foreign way to play. I don't even know how to respond to that. Maybe this is not the right game for Bearded if he wants to play a game where there's no killing. Yeah, alright, talking about the damage, 66, dex text, no dex characters. Yeah, I know, right? So AP is taking the world as a sandbox. That's good. I mean, we should be able to get more decide more, but there's going to be some areas where it's going to be too hard for us. It's just going to be too tough. And then we're going to get killed again. Theoretically, this dungeon should be a good proving ground for us, and we got wiped out. Well, we almost got wiped out. It was pretty damn close. So I personally think, I mean, we need XP. I mean, I don't know when the last time we actually got some XP. So we need some XP. We need gold. We need magic items. We need loot. So you're right, Feline. We need loot and XP. Yeah, the zombie plague, yeah. So it's my understanding, and that's only my understanding, that you have your central location. We're supposed to have a rough map so that we can actually look and say, oh, there's a dungeon over there, let's go explore that dungeon. Oh, there's a tower over there, let's go explore that tower. So there should be some key starting points. Maybe there's 3, 4, 5 things. And then as we go to those things, we find other things that might be enjoyable to do. But we're, you know, as you know, we started blind, so we didn't know anything. The other thing about this West Marches is the guy that started it recommended that encounters near the town are maybe not so hard, and as you go farther and farther away from town, you kind of hit these zones where the difficulty level ramps up. Now, I've been under the assumption that AP sort of says the forest is one difficulty level, the Badlands is another difficulty level, and maybe the mountains is going to be a third level. I don't know. But even he said, you know, the Badlands might not be a place where we want to go, just because with the Drow and the Duergar, so we'd be fighting psionics, we'd be fighting those damn paralysis darts all the time. So yeah, I'm not sure we're up to fighting Drow and Duergar. Let me catch up here. Ooh. Yep. Well, so I'm still on this. He isn't matching encounters to us. And I agree, it's easier not to have to match it. But, you know, there's got to be somewhere we can go in the beginning that's kind of our level. You can't just start nuking people with 3066. Zombie plague, we talked about that. Fighting the succubi. Fighting the succubi was a lot of fun. I was bummed and excited when you guys fought the tree monsters. That looked like a great night. That was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. So I'm sure it was a lot of fun to play. So that was good. 11 sessions of West Marches already. Death is fun is challenging. Yep, it is. It makes the game more enjoyable when you can actually die. But he said it on stream. Is that about Bearded? And then it was super close. Yeah, we already talked about that. I think defeating, in my opinion, defeating monsters should get you XP. It shouldn't have to be just about death. Because if it's just about death, then as a dungeon master, I would never have the monsters run. Because if they always have a choice to run, then you don't get the XP. So, in my opinion, XP should be awarded at defeat, not death. And if you make them run, if you turn them, if if they can't fight, I think you've defeated that group. Feline, nope, he will not get any XP because according to the way AP's been running the game, you only get XP if you kill the monsters. So Baldruck has not participated in killing any monsters yet. We got super close to killing 4 succubi last week, or the week before, but yet they all flew away. They had incredible fly speed, so once they were able to take off, they fly 120, and we can only move 30, so there was no way. There was no way. So he didn't kill anything, so no XP. Yep. Okay. Yeah, I'm not too excited about a druid, but it probably would be a good choice. Probably would be a really good choice, because I know druids are supposed to be one of the stronger classes. Like one of the more tankier classes. I will look at a druid. Maybe there's something I can do there. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm not a bard player. I don't think I'm charismatic enough to play a bard, even though it really doesn't matter. I don't have to be charismatic to play a bard. But I'll be honest, after watching Mick play a bard, I could never fill his shoes. It's a hard act to follow. So I just can't see myself playing a bard. Even though bard is supposed to be freaking amazing too. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I would do next. Possible, very, very small chance that I could do a cleric, because that was going to be my original plan, but I think that's super redundant. But more spell power I think would be good. But I think a spellcaster, spellcaster with some area effect spells, that's going to be pretty important. But I'm going to have to read the scout again. If the scout looks promising and something that I want, I might do a scout. I might do a multi-class. Since we're starting at 7th level anyway, multi-class might be interesting to do. Feline, what do you mean by damn? No, they're so gone. I must have missed something. think you were talking about, does Baldric get any XP if he's ever revived? You can, well, in the old days, you could multi-class up to 3 classes. I think you could multi-class as much as you want, but it doesn't, it's not too logical to multi-class too much, because if you pick one class and you play it to 20th level, then you get all of the top level powers of that class, so that's pretty cool. If you multi-class, and say you did 2 classes and you went to level 10 with each of them, you're going to be missing out on all those level 11 to 20th powers for both classes. So you got to be careful with multi-classing, is that you might weaken yourself by multi-classing too much. But in some cases, like it can pay off. Sorcerer, monk, or monk warlock are supposed to be some pretty good multi-classing options. Even a paladin warlock is supposed to be a pretty good multi-class option. And you're right, Connor, there are stat restrictions, and based on the way that we're rolling, based on the way that we create characters, you may not have much opportunity to multi-class in the first place because you don't have high enough stats. Oh yeah, the speed, the fly speed, yeah. It was incredible. 120 fly speed? I thought they'd be able to do like 60. There's not a level 10 cap, there's a level 20 cap. But if you multi-class, then what you're doing is you're bouncing back and forth between 2 different classes. But your maximum level is still going to be 20. So you could multi-class 5 in one class and 15 in another, or you could do 10 and 10. So basically you can do any combination that adds up to 20. And I think a lot of times a multi-class might be 17 in one and 3 in another, or 15 in one and 5 in another, and that's about it. If you do that. So anyway, you got to look at the stats and see if it's worth it to do a 10. I mean, mentally, I'd love to do a 10 and 10. I'd love to have, like, I always want a mystic monk. And maybe that's what I'll try, a mystic monk. In fact, maybe that's what I'll do, is the mystic monk, to get this out of my system, because I've always wanted to play that. So basically, there's a good chance my next character is going to be a multi-class mystic monk. So he'll have some psionic powers, he'll have his monk abilities. He's basically mind, body, and soul. He is the living weapon. Wizards need 13 intelligence. Yeah, I believe so. You know, Barbarian has not been very interesting to me. I don't know why. Maybe because my perception of a barbarian is one trick pony. I think if I was going to do a melee type, like with the bugbear, I might do a barbarian bugbear, to be honest, if I was doing a bugbear. But I might just do fighter, because I personally think fighter class is awesome. Fantastic. Yeah, so in Connor, in Unearthed Arcana, there's another class called a Mystic. And so it's basically their reintroduction of psionics to the game. So Mystics get psionic powers, they get these mind blasts, these other spell type effects, and you know, it's sort of like a monk has their key pool, psionics has their psionic pool, and they cast their powers based on that pool of points. So I think there's at least a 50% chance that I'm going to be a mystic monk. So I'll multi-class in monk, and psionics, the mystics. Kalashtar? Kalashtar? What is that? Yeah, Feline, a truly enlightened martial artist, right? In a fantasy world, he's a martial artist of the mind as well as the body. Plus, I always wanted a character, a martial artist that had enough ability that could be super stealthy, you know, not full on magic user, but have enough tricks to be unpredictable. Let's see who this is. Kalashtar. I'm really surprised I don't know it. You guys can see that, right? Yeah. Humanity and spirits from the plane of dreams. Spirits called Quarry. Wise spiritual people with great compassion for others. There's an unmistakable alien quality. So that could be my annoying quality. You know how I want to be annoying. Haunted by the conflicts of other spirits. Okay. Bound to spirits. Bound to spirits. So he's going to be a shaman type, right? Let's skip ahead here. Haunted by nightmares. Your wisdom and charisma increased by 1. Your wisdom and charisma both increase by 1. In addition, one ability score of your choice increases by 1. Wow. 3 bonus points? That's pretty cool. Is this Unearthed Arcana? Where's this race? Let's go. He's definitely a dream walker, right? Resistance to psychic damage. Telepathic. Oh, that'll come in handy. Psychic glamour. So that sounds pretty good. This guy as the Mystic Monk actually does sound pretty good. Let's bookmark that one. I like it. Yeah, that right there, that's kind of overpowered, to be honest, but I'll take it. Any creature you see within 30 feet, you don't need to share language. Now the mystics get that as well. Okay. Yep. As a bonus action, when you speak telepathically to the creature, you can give that creature the ability to speak telepathically to you until the start of your next turn. To use this ability, the creature must be within 60 feet. Yeah, so the mystic might be able to allow that without using a bonus action. But I like the resistance to psychic damage, dual mind, When you have a wisdom saving throw, you can use your reaction to gain advantage on the roll. You can use this trait immediately before or after the roll, but before any of the rolls. Oh, that's good. To be able to have that. Custom background. Why? What's the advantage to use the custom background? I assume you're talking about in character creation, picking background. I was kind of bummed that AP was not going to let me use my ability to find good campgrounds. Because that just bums me out. I'm like, come on. That's so specific to a realm that we're never even going to go to. I feel like I should be able to find good campgrounds in the forest. But oh well. Custom backgrounds let you get the most stuff. Yeah, something. Let me roll for it. Let Baldric roll for it. He should be given some ability to kind of replace that ability not being usable. And that's not the way the power's supposed to work. So it's not about where you've been. It's about being able to find a suitable place. So he wouldn't necessarily be able to be a ranger in the woods, but if there was, a rock formation nearby that we could see, then I might be able to determine that would be a good camping location. But yeah, you don't know where to camp if you've never been there. So I would have been okay with that. Is like, in all of the locations we've been at so far, maybe he knows a good camp spot between the temple and the rat cave. Yeah, I would be 100% okay with that. That would be totally fair, I think. So yeah, I think he was on the right track. Go back to the custom backgrounds, lets you get the most stuff. Does it? Like, do you get to pick what you get if you do a custom background? I didn't even know you could do a custom background, to be honest. I've just looked at the available backgrounds and picked one that worked. I see. I think a custom background will come in handy for my mystic monk. Yeah, I would usually pick backgrounds that did the same thing, give me proficiency in my strong points. Maybe I should actually draw while I talk. Oh, I was gonna say, the other thing I was gonna say, man, it's so hard to draw and play the game. Pretty agonizing for me to draw and play. It's really tough. Deep gnome, deep gnome, deep gnome. So he'd be a little bit on the nosy side, wouldn't he? I think deep gnomes are Uzi side. Yeah, it's kind of tough, right? Maybe it uses different parts of our brain. Because when we're role playing, we need our language centers, and when we're drawing, we don't. We're using other things. But yeah, it's tough. And feline, as you'll see, when I feel like we get slowed down when role playing. I get slowed down role playing and drawing to the point where I'm like, you know what? I just can't draw. So unfortunately, a lot of the times I'm just not drawing because I am invested in the game too. So I just want to make sure I don't miss anything and don't screw up. But man, it's tough. And feline, just so you know, I mean, I think you might understand, but part of the premise of this Tuesday night game is all of the artists, whether one at a time or sharing the screen somehow, but we're basically taking turns drawing while we're playing. So it's always meant to be a dual function stream, drawing and playing. But now that I've done it, it's just tough to do. You know what I liked tonight, Connor, was in the dungeon when we decided to go do something. And you don't always have to do this, but tonight, for whatever reason, you're like, all right, I'm taking charge. Here's where we're going. And I was like, wow, that was cool. I liked how Bearded, took charge and was kind of leading the way last time. So it's nice when we people get inspired. They're like, hey, you know what? We need to do something. Let's go do something. It's funky head. Feline, I think Connor and I try to be the most strategic. Cotton can make it up on the spot because she has more experience. And so we try to coordinate. So okay with that. You okay with that? Sorry, was that about me saying liked how you took charge? Provides a unique viewing experience. Hey, that's the whole thing, right? Is to make it worth your time to watch other people play the game, Feline. So hopefully we're doing something right. We definitely have too much paralysis. I agree there. Yeah, that's one of the things that kind of has annoyed me in the past because there's a couple of people that love to blame. But I'm past that too. I don't care. Like I'm almost at the point, honestly, with Baldric. I was almost at the point that he was just going to start hammering away anyway and say, "Oops, sorry. Let's see what happens." But I don't want to be that type of player. And I don't think I was at that point tonight, just to be clear, but I feel like at a night in the future I might have gotten to that point. I don't know. And I've said this from the very beginning. I think AP is a very hard read for me. I can never tell when he's trying to hint or influence or warn or anything. So I've gotten to the point where at least mentally I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to worry about what he says. I'm going to make a decision and go with it. And I don't mind if my character dies. Come on. Man, look at those sternomastoids. Yeah, but I don't think it's good teamwork to blame anyone for doing anything, right? But other folks do that. Feline, I am using the Intuos 3. Are you familiar with that one? It's an old, very old, like maybe 20 years old Wacom tablet. So as you've probably already figured out, I'm drawing on my desk and looking at my monitor. It's not one of the ones where I get to draw on the monitor. Maybe I'll get one of those soon. It is the medium size. Be upside down, but you can see. Medium size, roughly a 7x9 drawing space. And I'll show you my desktop. I've mapped it to a 7x9 space on my computer. There. So now you're seeing what I see. That's what my screen looks like when I'm streaming. So I've got, up here I've got the browser. Down here I've got OBS, which is the software that does the actual streaming. Over here I've got Discord, so in case I need to do any chats or where you share artwork or anything else. And then up here and over on the side is the drawing app that I've got, Clip Studio Paint. And so this draw space is mapped to the same size as the live area on my tablet, so that when I make a line, it's 100% of my motion. So it's the most accurate way that I can think of drawing with this tablet without the lines being super sensitive to my influence. So yeah, lots of stuff going on here. That's why I go to this, make it much simpler for you guys to see. Let's see here. I think we need some of that. We sort of toe around things, tiptoe around them. Yeah, I know. He is a hard read. That's the game. True. Yep. So I think we need to get to the point where we just kind of do what we need to do. And you were looking at the Intuos 3. Yeah, you know what? This thing's, it won't break on me. I would love to get a new one, but it won't break. So it's pretty dependable. Don't think it's good to do too much what? Yeah, the whole blaming thing is a bad call. You know, sometimes we do it in humor and that's okay. But I really feel like sometimes it's a passive-aggressive thing. And I'm not okay with that. But see, if someone is doing it in humor, then the blame game could be fun. Like we blame you for the whole racist thing. I mean, I think that's been clear from the beginning that that's all meant to be a jest. Didn't think of the mapping the area to the same. You know, I'm the only one that I know that does it. I can't be the only one who does it though, because the driver software actually lets you do it. So surely someone in the past has complained about it, and then they added the ability in the driver software to map to just a small section of the screen. So I've got a big 27-inch screen. I measured it. When I would do a 1-inch line on my drawing pad, it would end up being a 3-inch line on my 27-inch monitor. So every motion that I was doing was being magnified by a factor of 3, and it was making it really hard to keep in control of my lines. And even though I was getting pretty good at doing it, I realized if I map 1-to-1, it would be way better. And it's tons better. So yeah, with these bigger screens and higher resolution screens, I think it's worth the time to map the space to the tablet. And it's still kind of tough because if I go back to the desktop, you can see for my desktop, my drawing space is pretty small for the size of my monitor. But I will say, for the most part, I've gotten used to the size. And a lot of the times I'll do something like this, where I have a new window here and down here so that you can see the full body. See that? So you can see the full body. Might zoom out a little bit, and then I can zoom all the way in and draw over here. So then I use even less space to do the drawing, but you kind of get used to it. And then when you get to see it over here, you can see how it's working. I forgot I said I was going to show you all the layers. There's a lot to show here. Yeah, Feline. So yeah, if you're doing any draw tablets, that's why I would definitely recommend is map it to them the correct size on your monitor, and then use the rest of the space for something else. It makes it much, much, much easier to use a tablet. Humor is fun, but the hobgoblin actually got offended. Yeah, but now we know that's a choice of AP style. That's the kind of stuff we should ignore and just do what we got to do anyway. Screen is the same size, a 10:6 area on my tablet. Yeah, try it out. You'll like it. Quickly made a monk for me. Did you now? Connor Hughes' character. Strength 16, Dex 14, Con 13, Intelligence 8, Wisdom 13, Charisma 11. I think the monk part needs a higher charisma. It may be too hard to do these characters. The Mystic and the Monk. I think I would have to do... I do my monks dex based, so I could take away some of the strength to dex. But I think if I did the Mystic Monk, I think I'd have to build dexterity, intelligence, and charisma. So that's a lot to build on. What do I recommend as the first basic art skill to focus on? That is a very hard call, but the first thing that comes to mind is facility. So what I mean by facility is, and it's boring, but I think it's important, is getting your hand to do what you need it to do. Right? So if I'm drawing a circle, starting light, trying to get a good circle. If I'm drawing geometric other shapes, like a cube in perspective, getting that correct, I think is super important. So when I was self-training, this was the first thing I did, is just build facility. Because you're going to draw so many curves. You're going to do curves this way, right? So it's kind of, there's a circle there, there's a circle there, right? But being able to get your hand to do what you want it to do is the first step to being able to draw, in my opinion. So I think that's my say. And look at that. It looks like Connor said the same thing. So if Connor said it, it must be true. Now, Feline, I'll admit to you and everyone else, I'm not very good at having exact lines. Like if I try to be super smooth and stuff, I've got shake in my hand, you know. I feel like my lines have always been sketchy. When I write my name, I mean, I'm better than I used to be, but I never felt like my hand control was under control. But that doesn't mean you can't do good art. I was talking to someone the other day that the power of digital art is that for the folks that maybe don't have, you know, smooth lines, they still have shaky lines, digital still allows them to do artwork that can turn out pretty damn fantastic. But working on that facility is super important, because if you're drawing a torso, right? So the torso might be like this, right? So I like to mannequinize a lot. So if this is his belt line, pretty much, this is a very simple indication of where his hips might be, you know. But where Connor was saying draw geometrics, right? So one of the geometric shapes you're going to draw a lot is a cylinder, right? And as the leg could be a cylinder. So the reason why drawing these geometric shapes comes in so handy is you're going to use them over and over and over again. So even though it's boring, practicing drawing cylinders will come in handy over and over and over again. And then practicing tapered cylinders. You know, when I start drawing heads, I start with the circle. I'll do some lines here. So even drawing straight lines, sketchy, comes in handy. So you want to, you know, practice drawing parallel lines. You know, all that stuff comes into play, and it's not exciting, but it'll make you a better artist. And circles for the eyes. Now I love to do a lot of construction, so I actually do a lot of geometric shapes to kind of get things going. Curve for the chin, triangle for the mouth. Now this doesn't look like any character except for maybe a cartoon character, but yet I could actually use this for a foundation to start the construction of a character that looks a little bit more realistic. So I do that a lot. I do tons and tons and tons of construction stuff. Like even this character is very mannequinized, you know? Cylinder at the leg, circle at the knee, cylinder at the lower part of the leg, vaguely a triangular shape there, half circles, you know, all over the place. I'm using geometric shapes. Now, a lot of times I prefer to do geometric shapes, but you know, a lot of artists, they're thinking in geometric shapes, but they might do something that's a little bit more organic. You know, even though their lines may look a lot sketchier, they're still thinking organic shape or geometric shapes. It's just that they're not actually drawing them the way I am. But I kind of like this style, so I prefer to do that. And I'll still get to the art, but we're having such a good conversation. Doo-doo-doo. I do a damn impression. Go watch Connor draw. I've got my skills. I'll say it. People are getting tired of me being too humble. So I've got my skills, but go watch Connor draw. Yeah, people can't hold their hands still. It's tough. Even our heartbeat moves our hand. The blood flow moves our hand. So it is tough to hold our hands perfectly still. The other thing is, and it's harder to do in digital, well, on an Intuos 3 it's very hard, but the other thing is all the art instructors I've ever had always stress the importance of drawing from the shoulder, so not drawing from the wrist. So if your situation is set up enough so that you can draw more from the shoulder, again, building up that facility will help you in the long run, because you just, I don't know why, it's sort of a magical thing. When you draw from the shoulder, you get nicer curves and smoother lines and some more control and stuff. Pretty amazing. I'm laughing because as I say something and then I'm catching up to the conversation and Connor's saying the same thing. So yeah, there you go. Draw from the shoulder, start with geometric shapes. When you're ready to draw figures, I would recommend going to YouTube and watch Proko.com, or not, just watch Proko. Of all the people, I mean, Proko, yeah, he's really good. So Feline, for your drawing, do you know where you would want to take your art? Meaning, you want to draw cartoon style, or manga and anime, or Western comic book style, or classic illustrative? Have you ever thought about where you would want to go if you were doing it more? Yeah, who are your inspirations? Who would you like to be? Anime and painting? Cool stuff. Connor, would you say you're anime influenced? Mark that, send that later too. Yeah, I figured with how much knowledge you have of anime, you would have to be influenced there a little bit. I would say, in my opinion, and I hope this doesn't offend you by kind of judging your work in this way, but I think I see kind of a good blend of anime and Western influences. Because when I see your stuff, it's like sometimes there's a hint of anime, but it's not, you know, ever present, which I personally like. Alright, I'm going to give you a tour. Liked a lot of anime when you were maybe 10 to 17, yeah. Alright, so I'm gonna do this quickly because it can take it. That's what you're going for? Well, then I think you're doing well. You're nailing it, buddy. All right, so in this image, I started with the gesture drawing. So again, it was kind of loose, kind of geometric. In this case, it was a commission for a fellow who's going to be developing a game that maybe we'll do, maybe we won't do. I don't know if it's ever going to happen. So he had some suggestions, and I changed my gesture a little bit. Lengthen the arms, you know, lengthen the legs a little bit. So here it's very simple geometrics. So since I had already done this, I didn't need to do all that work again. So I kind of traced on top of it and simplified there. So I do my gestures in red. There's no reason other than just for the fun of it. Some traditional animators would do gesture drawings in red, so I'm kind of like, oh cool, I want to be part of the cool crowd and do it in red, but it really makes no difference. Then I do a rough layer, which in general is going to be my sketch layer. I usually do it in blue. I guess I didn't do it in blue this time around. It's usually looking like this. And make it 100%. So my rough layer is where I'm doing all my thinking. It's the layer where I put the clothes on, because if I've got this gesture layer underneath, I'll make that 100% both. Then I don't have to worry about where the clothes are, really. You know, I mean, if I can make the clothes look halfway decent on that frame, then, you know, they're going to be in the right place. So I do that rough, and then I do, on top of that, I do a render layer, which is the drawing. It's the actual drawing, the pencils, if you will. And it looks like I had another roughs layer. So it looks like I did a color. That's the original one. That's the old one. Okay. And that's old. Now the other thing I do, didn't do it there. So then I'll do inks, which I try to get to the point where my renders and my inks are exactly the same. So lately, I've been wanting to spend more time on my render stage so that it looks more complete. And then when I do the inks, it looks like a good drawing. Like this one's 50-50. There's not really any blacks going on. There's not too many values going on. It's kind of all the same value. So I wouldn't say this is a strongly inked image. It might have some interesting aspects to it, but not quite where I want it to go. Then I go down to flats and forms. So I'll do forms first. So I do a gray layer, and then I give some dimension to my image. And so it kind of acts like a light source from the camera, which is good and bad in a lot of reasons, but it gives some dimension to it, so I think that's pretty interesting. I do a flats layer, which is just flat color, and in my case it's a hard light set to 60%. When it mixes with the forms, you know, now you got something that's starting to take shape. I'm going to check your link here in a minute after I do this tour here. I'm almost done. So now it's starting to take shape, but yet I'm not done, right? So I want to add some shadows, deepen it up a little bit. I'll add a key light to give myself some highlights. And did I do a rim light? And in this case, I did a purple rim light. I'm like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Put them on a dark background, make them pop more. Add a drop shadow in there, and I don't know, there's no bounce lights or specular. Yeah, there's tiny bit of specular. I don't know if you can see it when I'm clicking on and off. Tiny bit of specular light there. And I do a little bit of texture, darken the tail, make it muddy, make it dirty. I did some overlay to pinken up. That's kind of weird, but I wanted his hands to not be the same color as his arms. I wanted to add a pink to it, so I did another overlay to the tail and hands to add a little bit of pink there, and that might be it. So that's my steps to do a color image. So your inspiration for painting is aiming for something like Ghostblade on... What's .io? My browser doesn't want to open that up. Looks like it's stuck. Let it work in the background. Gray really pops it. Yeah, it's a lot of fun doing the gray. The rim light. How can I explain this simply? So if I got, let me hide some stuff. Cave Geek is rating me with 15. Hey, hey everyone. Oh man, you caught me off guard. Just having a good conversation and talking about the layers and my process and stuff. It has been a while. How are you doing, Cave Geek? Well, it's been a while because I haven't been online. Sounds like Connor was taking off. Okay, Connor, we'll see you next time. Ah, thanks very much. I was doing this is a little bit dated, you know, in terms of weeks and stuff. Let me show you my latest. I've been doing, you know, my black and tans. So basically, it's inked work that with this digital wash. Which one do I want to show? It's got to be, I think, the Minotaur. That's the Minotaur. It's my latest one. So I've been doing these black and tans a lot lately. Looks like this is a work in progress, but let me turn off some layers. Get it back to where it was. So that's there. That and to be there. On. That on. That's pretty much it. So I've been doing a lot of these black and tans. DJ Jaina, thank you for that follow. Thank you, thank you. Welcome aboard. So, folks who are new to my channel, this is what I do. So I do a lot of D&D monsters, characters, you know, critters, commissions for other folks. This one happened to be a character that I was playing in a D&D campaign, and this character was killed just this evening, so he's bye-bye. I don't get to play him anymore. Feline, I'll come back to that page. Let me see here. I want to make sure I get everything here. It looks great. Thanks, Bob. Thank you very much. It is a horny character. I had fun with him. You always like less black and white art better? Less black and white? You mean line black and white? I don't know what you mean exactly. I can kind of tell where you're going with it. The clip file extension is Clip Studio Paint. So I use... I know, right? Less color? Yeah. Yeah, I love seeing the artists that are drawing just line work. Thank you for that. Thank you, Bub. Thank you for that follow. Welcome aboard. I'm glad you're sticking around. Yeah, the artists that I like are doing all pen and ink. So Inktober is just fantastic. I love seeing all the stuff that people are doing right now. So this one is a little bit of an experiment for me because I took the pencils and I darkened them up to make them look like black inks. But that's actually my pencil layer there. And then I'm adding somewhere. I hid it. Where was it? I have to put it on top. So I've just been adding some inks to sharpen the line. So it's an experiment. I'm trying to decide for myself if I want to go through the process of inking it, which gives a more interesting or an interesting type of line, or coloring my pencils to be black and saving myself some time and you know, doing the wash on that. And then tonight I'm working on this. It's another commission, and I started with, oops. So I started with that, you know, just quickie old sketch stuff. Didn't even finish the hands yet, because sometimes I get impatient and I want to move on to the next phase. Lately I've been doing what I'm calling the contour maps, which is this blue stuff there. So I get a good idea of the volume without spending too much time on it. And then I'll draw my renderer stage, which is pencils. Actually, I have to do roughs and start adding clothing to these guys before I actually do the pencils. So there's still a stage in between. Always been a huge fan of black and white. You can hide a lot by combining colors, but for black and white, you need to be much better. I agree with that, because in my own artwork, I think it gets better and better when I add color because it hides all my mistakes. So I've seen that happen for my own stuff. But yeah, black and white, you got to get the lines just right. So this one, there's lots of shading mistakes and stuff like that, but in the end, it kind of works. But I'm really digging the black and tan, so I'm going to be doing more of those. Although this one's going to be color. So this one's a commission. It's going to be a deep gnome, and then this deep gnome is basically a vampire. So I'm going to have him morph into this vampire in the background. So he's basically, deep gnomes are like, I don't know what they are, 3.5, 4 feet tall. I think they're around 3.5, right? They're pretty short. And then, but he's going to morph into this, 5 foot, 5.5 foot tall, beefier vampire monster creature thing. So I think that'd be pretty interesting. Nobody knows the trouble he's seen. Yeah. I like it. Bub. Do you like Bub for short, or do you like Bub Dad? Or Bubda Digger? Bubda. I get that a lot. I'm not necessarily trying to look old school, but yet, since I grew up in that, I think it's heavily influenced what I like, especially the inking. So I've embraced that, and I'm fine with that. I've been happy with it. So yeah, I get that a lot, that it looks sort of, and they don't say old school. There's a different term. Not classic either. There's a term out there about Renaissance style or something like that. I bet one of you guys know what I'm trying to struggle at. But yeah, I think for a lot of people, it sort of reminds them of the old style inking. F you, Bob. Okay, yeah, I'm a little bit of a kinder soul, so I'll stick with just Bub. That's pretty funny. In AD&D, you played so many gnomes. I have a gnome. I have a deep gnome. I haven't played many gnomes, but I have a deep gnome, rogue. What is he? Arcane Trickster, that I play on Tuesday nights. So we sort of took this long break because one of our players had to spend the summer with his family, but in November we're coming back to that campaign. So that's my main character right now. And I think I told you guys I was playing this character tonight, a Minotaur who just got killed. So he's ashes unless they revive him somehow. So next week I'm going to come up with a new character until we relaunch in November, the main campaign, and then I'll go back to the Deep Gnome Arcane Trickster. Mouthful. Thanks, Bub. I love it too. And like I said, no one really called me old school either. I was trying to fix my term there, but there's a term that they were using. and it's something about, there's a sort of a movement of folks who like to go back and play D&D version 1. And a lot of that art reminds them of that too. So she's down here. All right, I need a quick break. I'll come right back. Just give me a sec. This will be quick. I'm just gonna mute. Yeah, you nailed it. OSR. So whether it's revival or renaissance, I'm not quite sure, but OSR. Yeah, so a lot of folks have said my style reminds them of OSR. Okay, guys, so I hate doing this, but I'm actually going to have to stop the stream because I've got to move my computer system over to my regular room, and that's going to take me 30 minutes because my startup is really slow. I am going to come back and stream, so if you guys are willing to come back in about 30 minutes, I'll be here. But I got to close everything down so I can do the motions because the room I'm in right now is right next to my wife's bedroom, and she's going to bed, and she'll never be able to sleep with me talking, so gotta do it. All right, Feline. Well, again, thank you for the sub, and I'll see you next time. I try to stream as much as possible, but it's pretty tough right now, but I'll be on more often. Okay, folks, so I'll see you in 30, give or take. And thank you for sticking with me as long as you have. See you soon.